Good morning, parents. Good morning, students. Thank you for joining me today. It's Miss Strickland. This is video 4, day 4 of our remedial packets. My goal for today is to get finished with the remedial packets. Monday, we will be starting on our new packets, which includes 2 booklets, Money, 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 and All About Animals. But we'll talk more about that next week. First of all, I want to say I miss you. I'd love to hear from you, parents. If you want to let your kids call me or text me, I would love to hear from them. And please text me or call me with any questions or concerns you might have. I'm here to support you. And I know things are different and things are hectic, so I hope that we are doing our mindfulness exercises that I sent out. There were several different ones that you could pick from. They're only about 7 minutes long, and I'm doing mine every morning and I'm enjoying it. So the first thing that we're doing is going over money math word problems. It looks like this. I took the liberty of filling everything out for you guys, but I still want to go over this with you. Let's do the first one together, and that will give you an idea of what we need to do, okay? It says, Nancy had a lemonade stand and earned $37. It's her mom and dad's anniversary, and she buys them a present for $20. How much money does Nancy have left? If they're asking how much does she have left, then that means we need to subtract. So she starts off with $37 and she spends $20 on a present for her parents. So we're going to write our problem as $37 minus or subtract $20. That gives us $17. Let me show you. You can. So she is left with $17, okay? I want you to complete these. I'm going to pull this up so you can see my answers. I want you to complete them as best you can. Parents, I know with some of our guys, we're going to have to do hand-over-hand assistance. We're definitely using calculators. Use your calculator. Let me know if you have any questions, okay? The next thing that we're going to do is our injury matching. I know before we had to leave school, we talked about calling 911, big problems, little problems. Our big problems were the problems that we needed to call 911 for. Our little problems were minor cuts and scrapes. So let's say one example of a big problem where you would need to call 911 is when somebody's having trouble breathing. I definitely want to call 911 for that. Let's say if somebody just fell and they hit their elbow and they sprained their elbow. Is that a little problem? Yeah. We're going to put an ice pack on that and we're going to watch it, but we're not going to call 911 for that. So the next thing that we have here is injury matching. Now I went ahead and I wrote in the answers, but what I want you to do is to cut out the bottom and paste the answers onto the correct pictures. We can do number 1 together. So the first one is a broken bone. You can see the picture of the broken bone, and you know that the words broken bone goes with that picture. So all you're doing is cutting and pasting and matching with the correct term, okay? You have 2 pages of these. So work on that. The next thing we're going to do, and the last thing you guys should have, is our scholastic news. And this keeps us up to date, gives us something to read. It's a good social studies enrichment activity. We're going to read some articles, okay? Hello. So the last thing we have is our scholastic news. I'm not going to read every article. The article that I want to read to you guys, and you can follow along, is She Grew Up to Be a Hero for Women. It's on page 4. Looks like this, if you want to follow along with me. Alice Paul helped American women win the right to vote in elections. When Alice Paul was growing up in the 1890s, something bothered her. Her parents had taught her that all people were equal. But Paul saw that women did not have the same rights as men. In most of the United States, women weren't allowed to vote in elections for government leaders. As she got older, Paul worked to change that, and she helped American women win the right to vote. Where it began. Paul was born in New Jersey in 1885. Her family belonged to a religious group called the Quakers. Members believed that men and women were equals. Like a growing number of women, Paul's mom thought that women deserved suffrage, or the right to vote. She took Paul to meetings where women talked about how to win this right. These meetings inspired Paul. After college, Paul joined the fight for suffrage and became one of its leaders. She gave speeches and wrote to lawmakers. In 1913, she led a parade in Washington, D.C. Thousands of women marched to demand suffrage. Angry onlookers yelled, but the march did not stop. Winning the vote. We are now on page 5 under winning the vote. In 1917, Paul dared to do something no one had done before. She led a big protest outside the White House. For 8 hours a day, women stood outside the president's home holding signs. Police began to arrest the women. Although they were standing quietly on the sidewalk, the women were charged with blocking traffic. Paul was thrown in a dirty jail cell. She was served food crawling with bugs. All the women were released after a few weeks, but they could no longer be ignored. Feeling pressure, President Woodrow Wilson said he'd support suffrage. The 19th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution was finally approved in 1920, 100 years ago. It gave all women in the U.S. the right to vote. Alice Paul believed that one person can make a difference, says Krista Niles. She works at the Alice Paul Institute in New Jersey. It comes down to courage. So I really enjoyed that, and I hope you did too. It talks about words to know. One of our words to know is protest. That's the event where people speak out about something. What I want you guys to think about after reading this article with me is what would have happened if women didn't get the right to vote? Could you imagine how that may have affected the government in the United States even now if Alice Paul didn't help fight for the right to vote? That's just something to think about, okay? Thank you so much. I would like for you to read all the articles. And parents, I know you may have to read these articles to your students. On the back, you have some questions to answer, okay? Thank you so much for tuning in. And next week, we're going to talk about our new packets that we have. Please text me, call me, email me, whatever's comfortable for you. I miss you guys. I can't wait to see you again. Thank you so much. Stay safe and well. Thank you.